Welcome back to Cymatic TV and the energy update. Let me just show you this beautiful landscape that I'm in at the moment. That lovely valley down there. It goes down there as well. You can see maybe a few cars dropping in the background, but apart from that, there's not one of them. This is what's behind me. So, just to put you in context, I've got a lovely hat at the moment. Thanks go out to Eva, my darling daughter, who made me a hat, and loving it, Eva. Keep it coming, sweetheart. Love you dearly. Let's go on to the energy update. So the sun, that thing that's just behind me over there, has been kicking out a lot of flares over the past 2 weeks. It's really hitting into solar maximum at the moment, and yeah, as I said, there's been kicking out quite a few M flares. I think there was 2 X flares. I might be wrong. It might only be 1, but I've got a funny feeling there was 2 over the last 2 weeks. And that's changing the energy that's going around. It's almost as if you've put a sand on top of a in French they call it a tamaz. It's like a shaman's drum, but it's got grills on it to sort of filter out all the bad, the bigger stuff. So it's a sieve, I guess, some sort of sieve. And the energy that's coming through is doing that effect. It's got this sieve. It's sorting the chaff and the wheat. And I've been going on about sorting the chaff and the wheat, I feel like, for the last 2 years. But that's what seems to be happening with this solar activity at the moment. And when you take a clear jar of muesli or something, and you just shake it gently. And when you shake it gently, all the big raisins eventually rise to the top and stuff like that. And this is what's sort of happening. Sort of big stuff is coming to the surface, and this is what the solar activity is doing, and it's making things really obvious. When something doesn't make sense, it doesn't make sense. You can talk it all around you want, but there's something that just doesn't make sense. It just doesn't sit with the reality of what's going on, basically. Let me just get a bit of that sunshine. There you go. So you may have that sensation that you're looking at reality around you and what's going on, and the sort of the supposed talking points that's being presented to you, just kind of going, why are they talking about this? Why they bother talking about this? There's some really important things going on in the world of the human and of the world as a nature, because she's a living being. We're going to go into that a little bit later on, that need to be talked about. And apparently we're talking about stuff that really doesn't matter. Who cares? It's personal opinion stuff. And the collective consciousness is just standing up and stepping away. That's what is happening at the moment. People are feeling more and more disfranchised to the whole sort of collective, the whole sort of idea of living, even in a country together. Although I'm not a big fan of ideas of countries, but even that sort of notion is sort of like kind of going, who cares? This is not really what's going on in the world sort of scenario. And this activity in the sun has been picking it up. Now, there is a particular thing as well that I wanted to talk about, which was this M flare that's supposedly coming our way. It hit off, I'll bring up the images now. It hit off on Friday evening, I think. Friday evening. And it should be arriving here at 6 o'clock in the evening. That's 1800 hours UTC. Now, UTC is Universal Time Central. Whew. Centre of the universe. How about that? How did we do that? Oh yeah, we told ourselves that. And that's half the problem with today. We just think we're the centre of the universe and we forget that we're not, you know. And so it's good to sort of like take a break from feeling like we're the centre of the universe and get into the idea of we're this beautiful collective, and this collective becomes the centre of the universe because it goes so much further than the planet. But anyway, you've been seeing some of these activities here. There was a solar eruption, particularly on a Friday night, that was made up of several things. As you can see here, we have a filament energy that's running into arcs of magnetic field of the sun. Now that's what keeps it in place, this magnetic field. And these elements are in the filament energies are sort of quite heavy energies, really. Not as heavy as like the wind that comes from a coronal hole, which you could see at the bottom of the sun there. But as you can see, it sort of pushes up through those across the surface, and it gets encased by these arcs. And at some point there's a feedback notion where it's getting overloaded, so it feeds back down the line. These magnetic fields, these magnetic arcs get larger, and then it erupts because it can't go forward anymore, and it rips off all the original filament that's attached to the sun and lets it go. So we got this plasma cloud heading our way, and I said it's going to be here at 6 o'clock evening, 1800 UTC time. So check out where that is according to, I think it is in Texas, basically midday in Texas, something like that, along those sort of lines. You know, it's roughly around that sort of time, that sort of space. So it's mid-America that's going to get hit full whack with this. And the funny thing is once the wave goes through, it also gets caught up in the magnetic field, as you can well see here. This is what happens. It gets caught up in the magnetic field of the Earth, and the Earth brings in those particles to charge the Earth. It's a bit like solar panel, sort of, in a way, how a solar panel works. And what this does is gives the Earth vibration a bit of a boost in energy. And we can often, I've done it many times, Dow's lines, energy lines, and after the solar effect, and they are a lot more buzzy. So, and it affects humans in particular ways. Now, I always go, if you want to know more about how it affects you as an astrological sign, I do have a video on my sister channel that you can find. It's in the link in the description below, and it gives you a heads up of how it affects you in certain ways. Now, this is filament energy. Now, this is like what I would call water energy, emotionally charged energy. Yeah, there is a talk of X-ray flare with it, or an M flare with it, that goes off, and that's just the bright spark. It lasted some time as well, so it's that heavy notion. It's like that scarring, and you can see the magnetic field starts pulling it together, like stitching a cut in your skin. And what I've noticed in my healing sessions, because I do a lot of healing as well, in my healing sessions I've noticed people with skin problems coming to the surface over the past sort of week or so. I think it's coming to a head at the moment over the last 2 days. It's impacting that surface, and that's what you see when it rips off and the sun is trying to repair it. It's a little bit like what's happening to the skin. So anything to do with eczema, to do with shingles, to do with psoriasis. I think that's what it is in French. Psoriasis. Yeah, you know what it is. Those sort of things will be coming to the surface. I've been doing a lot of healing with that. I help a lot of people with that. If you need help with that, you'll find a link in the description below. You can book up a session with me. Distance is nothing. So, you know, we do it by sort of video sort of session. Yeah, so that's how it sort of plays out. I've noticed, I've got no actual real studies on this, and I'd like studies on this, but I'm only one man in a house somewhere. You know, I don't have all this, I don't have the resources to do these studies physically. I wish I did. I think it'd be very important for the Earth. But anyway, That's the sort of thing it's playing into the earth. Now, as I was saying earlier on, that hits the earth, and as you saw earlier, there's an igniting of that field together, and it brings it back into the earth, which usually happens, well, it looks like it's going to happen 12 hours afterwards. So as it hits Texas, the earth spins round, and as it gets the backlash, you're going to be hitting Texas again. And it's impacting, it's giving balance to it. So it's initial shock on one side, it allows the world to spin and gives it the balancing shock on the other side. It's like the plus and the minus. It's that input of energy. We have a similar sort of thing that happens within our energy. When you have your chakras that are ignited by a situation that is around you and provokes those chakras, will then it will get surcharged in one area, and as it gets surcharged in that area, all of a sudden it will do like a solar flare. It will release energy within your magnetic field. Okay, because don't forget, the sun is doing this. It doesn't go out into space, it gets trapped in its magnetic field, and it's also a feedback loop for the sun. Everything's got a feedback loop. Okay, so when your chakras do this emotional sun eruption, as it were, it feedbacks the emotions within you. That's what you feel in your ambient field. That's where your emotions can be felt. That's what I see when I'm looking at someone's aura. I can see auras around trees, tables, people. I think they're magnetic fields. That's what I call them. And you can see certain emotions within the magnetic fields. And you can see they change, they're constantly changing. So if someone turns around to you and said, you have a blue aura, it's not really like that. It's multitude of colours, really. And they keep changing. It's a bit like a lava lamp. It sort of like moves around and stuff like that. And that's the emotions going through the person. That's even thoughts going through the person, you know. And if we could understand this side of energy, just think how easy it would be. No one will be able to lie. Can you imagine that? Can you imagine politicians not being able to lie? I'll just let that sink in for a bit. If we could learn to see auras, and we can, we've just forgotten how to do it. It's very simple to do. I do it in my workshops every single time. It is a state of consciousness. Once you get into that state of consciousness and you can see that vibration, do not concentrate on it, be part of it. And when you're part of it, all of a sudden, you can start seeing auras. Okay? You imagine if we could do that. It'd be absolutely amazing. So this should be happening, this solar flare should be coming through at 6 o'clock in the evening, UTC time, or 6 o'clock in the evening for me in the UK. And it will be, I'd like to sort of see, I'd like to sort of notice, I'll just notice how beautiful the sky is. Look at that, look at this, look, I've just noticed the beauty. Doing that little bit of a meditation, all of a sudden I can see every branch and every twig on every tree. And it just seems so well detailed. It's absolutely beautiful. The world is amazing. And each one of those spirits there, because they are, regardless that, you know, they're not human, and they don't think like humans, that's for true. These trees and everything like that, as much as these dogs don't think about life in the same way. You know, there is fundamentals that we all look at. So trees are concentrating on sort of like getting that carbon in so they can build the tree, because that's how a tree builds. It's out of its leaves, not out of the roots or the water that comes through. There is a certain degree that comes through for the construction of a tree, but the majority is done through that photosynthesis, capturing that carbon, then that makes the branches grow. When you go down below, then that energy goes down below in autumn period, and then that energy goes into the root section of that stocked kinetic energy that it does have in the upper section of the tree, and then it can then convert that energy into root creation during winter. So a tree grows enormously in winter. We don't think it, but it does, but it's all underground. And then it all comes back in spring, and we're gradually coming up to that point. So I have been talking about on my sister channel it's called the Astro Flower, and you can I do tarot reading and stuff like that. You can find that in the link in the description below. And I've been talking about the fusing of the chakras and stuff like that on that channel, and about the changes that are happening in March. I'm calling it Magical March after Funny February, because Funny February was a funny old month. And March is going to be this, what I'm calling the logical revolution. And I think this is what this whole sort of sifting through the earth and through the sun's energy at the moment is all about. I'm going to turn around and get a bit of sun. Through the sun's energy, and it's doing the same thing to the earth. It's bringing certain things up to the surface so we can look at it and kind of go, no, that's really illogical. I'm sorry, that's just a little bit hell-bent. You've obviously got caught up in the inversing of the energies through pole shift, because that's what's happening. And when our brain, our crown becomes our root becomes our crown. So everything, bad becomes good and good becomes bad. Male becomes female, female becomes male, that sort of thing. And we can see it happening all over the place. And all of a sudden, the people who are actually in tune with the energy and kind of allowing it just to transpire through them, that's fine, but without attaching themselves to it and going off on some sort of doolally, people are going to be, and it's the vast majority of people, we're all going to be standing there kind of going, sorry, man, that's not logical. Or sorry, my friend, that's not logical. And it's going to be a logical revolution where we're just going to say, stop with that, it's not logical. This is logical. Right, let's move on to the logic of everything. And this is what's happening in March. So it'd be interesting to see what you guys feel going through this solar flare that's coming in. And obviously, any answers, any ideas, please do put them in the comments below. You can contact me through the description as well. There's links in there, so I will see you if you need to contact me. What we're going to do, though, just to sort of finish off the thing, I'm going to walk a little bit into these woods here through this beautiful heather. So we're just going to walk off, and we're going to go and we're going to do a barometer meditation on the ambient energies. I'm not actually on a ley line here, so I'm not on an energy line. But it would be nice to stand on the edge of this forest to get the ambient energy. Now, this is a different type of meditation. I normally do it on ley lines, because ley lines are fantastic. You've got lovely energies. But I'm going to get the ambient field, because this is where the big changes are happening. Much more than within one particular chakra, although the chakras are really changing. But the outcome is much more in the ambient field. And there seems to be a coming together of vegetable and animal and mineral energy. This is the collective consciousness. People talk about the collective consciousness of being human. It ain't. Get over it. You're not. We are not the center of the universe. Wake up, people. Wake up and smell the world. Smell the consciousness. It's not, excuse me, I do keep sniffing. It's pretty cold out here. And thank you, I've got my hat on, So it's this ambient energy that's sort of changing, of actually connecting with everything that is around us. So let's just do that. I'm going to put my cup of tea down, because I like having a cup of tea when I'm going for a walk. So we connect to the energy through the sternum. That is where your central connection is. It's not in your root or your crown. You do not connect to the universe through your crown chakra or the earth or the energy through your root chakra. It's through your sternum, right in the center between your solar plexus and your heart. It is a chakra that is within your body, that you can't be doused outside of your body. It's so intense. Okay? And then we connect with our vertical energy, which is our crown and our root chakra. So breathing in, crown, going down into our root, feeling the vibration as it comes back through, comes back up. enlightens the rest of the body. And as it gradually goes up and down through that vertical energy, which is our equivalent of our righteous energy, our raison d'etre, yeah, what we should be doing in life naturally. So we connect to that, and as we do, every time it goes up and down, it connects to, first off, the heart chakra, and as it goes down and then comes back up, connects to the solar plexus, goes up, comes down. As it comes down, it connects to the third eye and the throat chakra, goes down, right down to the root, connects to the root, comes back up, connects to our sacrum. And then we get the overall energy of the root and the crown that connects to the whole ambient energy. I can see a lot more in the way of auras now when I look around me, simply because of that connection. Everything is heightened. It's not peace, but it's harmony. It's not harmonious, but it's peaceful. It's being on the edge, ready to move at any given time, but also at one with our situation that is around us. And through that vibration, let's just absorb. And it will absorb through the outer layers of your aura, through your magnetic field, exactly as the Earth does, as I showed you earlier on. And that feeds you, the Earth, and it feeds back within to your energy. So you can then start having a conversation with the collective consciousness. It's almost singing. They sing. It's sort of singing, "Come on, get ready, get ready, get ready. Let's get it on." It's no rhyme or reason to the tune, but it's as if everyone's like dressing up for like a wedding or something like that. It could be that spring is coming back. Obviously, we're in the end of February, beginning of March, so spring is not far away. So you get that within the nature feel as well, and that's a possibility that's coming through. They are correcting me. It is correcting me and sort of saying, no, this is definite change. This is not just a one-off a year sort of springtime change. This is the change. And how we go from one side of the magnetic field of the galaxy to the other side, going through what is called, or what NASA will call it, the galactic sheet, magnetic sheet. So the bottom part is negative, the top part is positive. Northern hemisphere, southern hemisphere, sort of scenario. And we are going across the equator. So the torus within the energy changes. And that's what's changing in everything. And it's almost like there's a pivotal no return point. And that's where we're at. It's not a case of when you go across, if you've ever been sailing and you've sailed across the equator, or you live by the equator and you go across the equator, you don't kind of go, oh my God, everything works in a completely different way. That's not what it is. Everything still works in the same way. But there becomes a different sense to things. It's like the water's going to go down your drain. And often, not all the times, but often it will turn in one way in the northern hemisphere and the other way in the southern hemisphere. It's like that. It doesn't really change your life, does it? It's just emptying the sink. You're only sort of kind of going, let's get rid of this water, let's pull the sink out. And, if you're in Australia or Brazil or something like that, you'll look, or in South Africa, you'd be kind of looking at it, kind of saying, oh, wow, look, it spins that way. And you come to Europe or India or North America, and you kind of go, oh, wow, look, it spins the other way. Nothing really changes, but it's the sense that changes. And this is the logic revolution. I've probably been going on for a long time, and it'd probably be better if I sort of said, see you later. Let me just leave you with this most beautiful bit of landscape here in the New Forest in the south of the UK. Absolutely blinding. I'm going to go for a walk in that forest there, connect with those trees. Seems really nice. These dogs are constantly looking over there, so they want to go in there, so I'm going to follow the energy. That's what it's like. Follow your energy, and it will get there. It's going to be great. Magical March, embrace it. I'll see you over on my sister channel, the Astroflower, and also on that video concerning of how the effects it does on your energies as well. In the meantime, don't forget, life should be fun, so please do enjoy.